Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and I am back from Moscow. I had an absolutely awesome time. I got to see the mouse, I got to see the Red Square, Lenin's tomb, the Kremlin, I guess. Absolute and utterly amazing experience. But unfortunately, as when you go on holiday, I do sound a little bit under the weather, and so if you see me muting my microphone to cough my lungs out, then I apologize, but hopefully respect the dedication that even though I'm feeling pretty damn awful right now, I just want to get you guys some content. As you might have noticed, I pre-uploaded a bunch of YouTube videos that I released while I was still in Moscow. Hopefully you all enjoyed them. You've been giving them some fantastic feedback, so thank you very much for that. And as it is my mission at the moment to try and get daily videos for you at least until 2017, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I really couldn't miss out on today, even if I'm a little under the weather. So, one of the best things about getting back from Moscow was the fact that I finally got a chance to be able to get stuck in with some Swedish tanks. I guess I wasn't super annoyed at the fact that 917 was released just the day before I went to Moscow, but it was a little bit inconvenient. I wish that I'd had like a whole week to be able to play through all the Swedish tanks, right? That would have been a lot of fun. It's been a while since I had new tanks to play with in the game. Last new set of tanks that went in were the Czechoslovakian medium vehicles, and that was basically a year ago, right? So I've been twiddling my thumbs for pretty much about half a year, having got the TVP, and just doing some crew training. And so this was really exciting, the stream that I had on Wednesday just before I went, because I was finally making some progress. I did free experience my way up to the Stridsvagn 74, is it? The tier 6 Swedish medium tank, and I know that kind of defeats the point. You might be saying, oh, well, QB, you missed out on tiers 1 through to 5, right? Isn't that like half of the new content? At least down the light, medium, and heavy line? Yeah, I'm going to be getting back into those, but I just really wanted to have something to experience, and to be honest, even if I did play in the tier 1, the 2, and the 3, and the 4, even the 5 on release night, I would have got through them pretty quickly. And that's because this is the first time, I believe, that I have been grinding, so to say, with personal reserves, and it makes an absolute gigantic difference. When I was playing the game for the first time back in, I guess, is it 2011 now, and trying to get as many tanks as I possibly could, I really loved the variety in World of Tanks, and all the different content there was just absolutely awesome. I did notice that it took quite a while, well, a lot longer than it does now, to be able to grind through those vehicles. Of course, grinding kind of defeats the point, I guess, right? The grinding, the idea that you're just playing them to get through them, to be able to get the next tanks, it really isn't often like that for me in World of Tanks. There are some vehicles that I do feel like I just want to try and get through, a lot like the Stura Mill, for example, to be able to get on to the awesome Borsig. But what I'm trying to highlight is that the personal reserves certainly make the grinding a lot faster, pretty much twice as fast. Back in the day, I think I would be happy if I could get about, I don't know, 10,000 experience an hour, thinking about it. But now, I can easily get about 20,000 experience plus per hour, especially if I was in a platoon when you think about it, because of the 100% plus experience boosters that Wargaming seem to give out, and also you can purchase from the premium shop. And so, I managed to get from the tier 6 to the tier 7, the Leo, in a single evening, in about the space of 3 hours, before I had to go away to Moscow, before I had to go away and have an awesome time there and get to see the mouse. I've got some videos that I'm going to try and narrate and put up for you on the YouTube channel as well, if you're interested in that kind of thing, a whole series of awesome tanks. And so yeah, I found that I could get the 60,000 experience from the Stridsvagn 74 all the way up to the Leo in the space of about 3 hours. So yeah, I guess if you play well, it doesn't take too long now with personal reserves. I can only imagine if I had that 20% bonus as well from platooning, that it would have gone a little bit faster. So, the Leo, what is it all about? This tier 7 Swedish medium tank. Well, I'm playing it with, you might be surprised, the 75mm. Even though I have the 100mm unlocked, I think that the 75mm, at least for me in my kind of a playstyle, it might be the more competitive gun. This tank with the 75mm actually plays out a hell of a lot like the Comet. In fact, it's faster than the Comet. It goes at 60 kilometers an hour, where the Comet's limited at just over 50, while it has a slightly better power to weight ratio, and it has the same ground resistances on hard and medium, and slightly better on soft. The vehicle also has better tank track traverse, which is always nice, but the turret traverse is worse, so you've got to watch out for that. One thing that is a bit of a downside about the vehicle, however, is that it does have a little bit less DPM than the Comet. We're talking about 7.5% here. But it kind of makes up for it with the fact that it's got 150 alpha damage rather than 140. But the main reason why I still think the Comet is just so darn special at tier 7 is the fact that it does have 12 degrees of gun depression. Something that is absolutely wonderful about the tier 6 Swedish medium tank, by the way, the Stridsvagn 74, which has 15 degrees of gun depression. You know, I think I'll probably do a full tank review on the tier 6. I managed to get, I think it was like about 4 or 5 ace tankers and absolutely fantastic games in the space of the 3 hours that I played the vehicle on the Wednesday before I went away. And so yeah, I think I'll put up a full tank review of that. I can't wait to be featuring some more tank reviews on the channel on all of these new Swedish tanks, and hopefully they'll help you guys out, and they're always a blast for me to make, to go into the nitty-gritty details of the vehicle and try and see what it's all about, right? As if you hadn't figured it out by playing through it and getting that 60,000 experience. So right now the game is neck and neck. Worst possible time to have to cough. We see a Cromwell and a T-37 that was pressing down upon the Ferdinand on my team, and I wanted to make sure that I tried to flank the I-6 to allow the Ferdinand to turn around to deal with the tier 6 medium and light tanks. So we put 2 rounds into the Cromwell. The T-37 makes a bit of a mistake here. I think he thought that my rate of fire wouldn't quite be that good. Maybe he thinks I'm using the 100mm gun. And in the space of just a couple of seconds, using this 75mm with its really good accuracy of 0.33 and a great rate of fire and 1.8 seconds aim time, which is way better than the 105mm that you can choose to use on this tank, we have managed to shut down 3 vehicles, completely change this game around. And one thing that's bizarre about this vehicle is I thought, well, it can't use vertical stabilizers. Oh, I can't believe that one didn't go into the back of the FV4202. That was such an important shot there. I need to remove as many hit points from that vehicle as possible so I can manage to take him out with 1 or hopefully 2 shots. But as I was saying, the 75mm on this tank is just absolutely awesome, and you can just pick apart your opponents just far faster. But it cannot use vertical stabilizers, the Leo, which is unusual for a tier 7 tank. The Comet and the T20, for example, can use vertical stabilizers, which reduce the dispersion when you're turning the turret and when you're moving by 20%. So now we have the FV4202 right where we want him, but unfortunately our shell dips, and the next shell hits the ridgeline. That's rather unfortunate. But luckily the M40 on my team, sorry, the Ferdinand shuts down the KV-13 who was on the opposite side, but the artillery on the enemy team takes out the IKV-65, I guess Mark II. So right now, I just want to get out of there. There could be a Jagdtiger 88 advancing, and the FV4202P, if he can get above me, he is going to be rather dangerous. What I want to do right now is to take the RNG out of the game. I want to try and find out where the ELC AMX is that we last spotted here. I think he was on about 164 hit points or so. I can't exactly remember. All I was thinking is that I probably have to shoot the ELC twice, maybe once if I do get lucky and roll slightly above the 150 alpha damage that the 75mm has. And also take out the RNG and the fact of the artillery. That artillery could splash the Ferdinand, he could remove all of my hit points pretty much with a single shot, because this is a very lightly armored tank. 70mm at the front of the hull and the turret, 30 at the side of the hull and the turret, and 20 at the rear. This thing isn't ricocheting many shells at all, and if artillery hit you, you are all but dead. So I'm really keen to hunt down the M40, M43 right now before the FV4202, which although it's had a speed buff now up to 40 kilometers an hour, manages to work his way down towards our cap circle, because he's not really going to be getting there very fast. It's only really the ELC AMX that might be able to sneak in. I get spotted. I was thinking ELC, ELC, ELC. Certainly not the ELC, however, it's the artillery. Put one into the top of his tank, and I want to poke for him here. He shoots the ridgeline, great result for me. And one thing you have to be careful with when you're using the 75mm gun, however, is that you don't carry much ammunition. You only carry 50 rounds. Now, if you penetrate every single one of your shots, that is only going to do 7,500 potential damage. And, sorry, most of the time, you are going to be ricocheting a lot of shells because your penetration isn't exactly marvelous at 148 standard and 200 with the APCR, but I make that work on the Comet, so I don't see why I couldn't make it work on the Leo as well. And that's my thinking about this gun, really. So now that we've dealt with the artillery, it's very clear that the FV4202 and the Jagdtiger will probably move into the cap circle as quickly as they can, because they probably think that I'm going to be the one capping. I decided, however, instead of capping and leaving it open to RNG for the ELC interrupting me, or alternatively the enemies getting too inside the cap circle if the Ferdinand wasn't able to engage them, to go back instead and be able to take them on. I know the FE4202, I have to shoot him 3 times, and we just spotted the Jagdtag 88 who is on low hit points. But oh gosh, the Ferdinand dies, leaving me in a 1 versus 3 situation against 2 tanks that are 1 tier higher than me. Now I think about blind firing that shell, but then I think that I might need all of the remaining rounds in my tank. I only have 2 armor piercing rounds, 6 APCR rounds, and a high explosive round to be able to take down this 1 versus 3. So I don't want to blind fire, even though I probably could have penetrated him there. Yeah, if I'd had more ammunition, as you would have with the 105mm in this tank, I definitely would have blind fired. But then again, with the rate of fire of the 105, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it. Now this is a very important moment. I wait until the Jagdtag 88 turns his side. He's obviously panicking. He's got 6th sense. He knows he's spotted. And he wanted to try and take a look towards maybe the east where he thought that I'd be coming from. And we put 1 round into the FE4202, which is crucial, because that now means I only have to shoot him once more. So I might be able to avoid the 230 alpha damage that he has. And he is going to have to shoot me pretty much 3, possibly 4, well, pretty much 4 times, unless he high rolls 3 shots to be able to kill me. All of these are the kind of things that you have to be thinking through very carefully when you're going into these situations, especially against higher tiered vehicles. How many shots does he need to kill me? How many shots do I need to be able to kill him? You've got to be thinking the engagement through and how the trades are going to take place to know how many hit points you're going to have left to deal with the other tanks. It's a fundamental of winning against multiple opponents, or just trading effectively. Bizarrely enough, the FE4202P doesn't spot me here, and I managed to spot the top of his cupola, and that allows me to finish him off. Great result for the Leo. I was feeling pretty chipper right now, because I know that I can take, gosh, 3-4 hits from the ELC AMX as well, and it will take him a long time to be able to get that out, because while the ELC AMX is ridiculously fun to drive, especially if things go well in the tank, doesn't have the best rate of fire. He's pretty much going to have to fire at me for 30 seconds to be able to take me out, and I know that I'm only going to have to fire at him for pretty much about 5 seconds to be able to shut him down. Also, I'm not too worried about the ammunition loadout that I have now. 5 armor piercing shells should be more than enough, even with a few misses, to be able to take him out. And right now, I just wanted to find him. I was thinking, Radley Walters, you know, you've got to get those 8 kills as many times as you possibly can. But it is also a risky situation. Now, it's very important with the timing at the end of this game. You need to allow yourself 1 minute and 40 seconds, or 100 seconds, in other words, to be able to cap the base entirely. And also, I was thinking, what happens if the ELC comes in at the very last moment? I need to kind of leave myself with hopefully about 15 to 20 seconds to be able to chase him down if he does decide to interrupt. So I basically figured out that I had to make a decision. Go left, try and find the ELC AMX. He could be absolutely anywhere right about now. Or turn right and be able to cap out. So I'm just thinking about where the ELC is likely to come from. Is it going to be, if I was the ELC, I would probably be situated all the way up here and try and spot out from these bushes. Will he be able to see the Leo from this position? Let's just take a quick look. It actually looks like I am covered by those bushes. So I'm not sure if I was thinking that through at the same time, or if that's just coincidental. But I will get protected, at least through this bush from up there, and he's going to have to come a lot closer to be able to take me out. Alternatively, I was thinking about the ELC AMX being up here. This is a position that I love to use to be able to interrupt the cap circle, as we saw when I was engaging the Ferdinand and the FE4202 on the other side. From this position, we can see that the trees protect me, and if he goes further towards the right, he's got the bushes to deal with as well. So I think the position that I've chosen to go, i.e. maximize the distance that I have from getting engaged and sniped from the west while also hiding from the middle, is the correct one. And the only way the ELC AMX was really going to be able to get vision on me is if he came from this location, or alternatively, if he came from the other side here. And if he did that, then I would be able to turn and chase him down. 10 seconds left, 9, 8, where's the ELC AMX? Is he going to arrive or not? I was kind of hoping he was going to, so I could pick up my Radley Walters, but time runs out. And you know what? I'm not too bothered about that. Great to take down a 1 versus 3, albeit probably against an AFK ELC AMX. but I was really happy with the performance of the Leo this game and the 75mm. I've seen some fantastic replays with the 105mm already on this tank, and I'm still completely undecided as to which I feel is probably the stronger for all situations. So the Leo is right up my street, and I'm finding the mid part of the new Swedish medium and heavy branch to be a lot more interesting and involving than the Czechoslovakian medium tanks were. I really didn't like the T-34-100. Sure, it's got a big old gun, but I'd probably rather play a T-34-1, the Chinese Tier 7 medium tank. And sure, the Tier 6 Skoda with its lovely little autoloader was a demon at Tier 6, but I had a hell of a lot more fun with the novel feature on the STR-V74 with the 15 degrees of gun depression. So all in all, a great little result for the Leo, and I'm finding out new things about this tank every day. It looks like it's got some kind of a machine gun or a low caliber cannon coming out of the back of the vehicle. And in fact, if you squint your eyes, this looks like it could be one of the most ridiculous looking tanks, if that was the main armament of it. And we must quickly go to the other side to see what the tank is intended to look like. So at least it didn't take us quite as long as another famous Leo to be able to pick up the main prize in this tank, securing the Ace Tanker for 1,633 base experience points. We also secure a high caliber for 3,616 damage in a tier 8 game, over 2.5 times what anyone else on our team was able to achieve. An Invader medal as well for the cap out, and a Top Gun, but not a Radley Walters, for our 7 kills. One word of warning though, I did barely make any profit this game, as it is beyond the Call of Duty to have to do 3,600 damage in your tier 7 medium tanks. And combining this with the rather limited ammunition capabilities of the 75mm on the Leo, and you do quite frequently run out of armor piercing rounds and have to dip into your APCR unnecessarily. Nevertheless, a great result for a great tank, and it's looking like the Swedish medium and heavy line, if the STR-V74 and the Leo are anything to go by, is going to be one of my favorites. And so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And let me know in the comments down below, have you been playing any of the new Swedish tanks? And if you have, what's the highest tier you've got up to so far? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.